Now, after we have discussed the entire concept in the video before, we're gonna start creating our folder, which I have done here prior, which is the tattoo design. Let's open up the meditation design notes. We want to make a full back piece. The placement will be very front focused in the center of the back. Maybe a slight bleed of the design into the neck area. And for the design idea, we want to focus on the main theme of the meditator with some geometry and geometric elements for framing the whole design. We want to introduce a lotus to symbolize the layers of consciousness. And maybe we add something technological like circuit board inspired, but let's see. And for the meditator, I would like to add something like a halo to even underline this effect of enlightenment through stillness of mind. The last file we still need to add is the tattoo template from the right body part. And I think I would like to start with a preview like this, close up, back, copy, paste. It doesn't really matter if it's a male back or female back because the design we're about to make will be unisex, so everyone can wear it. Let's rename this project. We call it Meditator Design. And double click. Opening up in Photoshop, and as we discussed before, double click on the tattoo preview. I will drag it on the right. And the mannequin preview on the left, so we can work in this workspace here. I'm going to start out with creating a new layer, and what is really important in this video, it is not about a perfect drawing and not a perfect draft. It is really about learning how to instant sketch, make super quick, super rough drafts of your designs. That could be on a post-it, that could be on a piece of napkin, it doesn't matter. Use whatever pen or chalk or whatever you have laying around and learn to create compositions. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in this video here. So for example, we start with having a brush. Let's say I take opacity of 70 and let's create first some sort of a middle grid. Let's see. Okay, that looks good. Let's adjust this size. It's also going up into the neck area. Okay, let's go back into the file, adjust it so it's really right in the middle. We can also use our rulers to determine that. Pressing Command H to hide the ruler, and let's start sketching. I will start out with creating a new layer, and I will actually use a vertical mirror ruler, because it will become a symmetric back piece with slight wanted imperfections. And let's start by pressing B. To have our brush, I will make the opacity probably to 70, 80, something like that. And I would like to have some focus on the head of the meditator. We're gonna keep it very rough here, making the eye line. We use a smaller eraser here, just to make the head slightly more round shaped. And let's move over to the chest part. I'm going to keep it very rough here and just indicate roughly where the flow of the legs, the crossed legs, go. I'm gonna deactivate the symmetry ruler quick, just to indicate the feet here. And then we turn it back on. And as I'm saying, it's really not about creating a masterpiece right here. It's just about to create a rough composition, to just know, does the entire design even work? For example, if we press Command S now, you see the instant preview, and this will be the main piece of the design where the meditator sits. Then we would like to add probably some sort of a halo around him. Then the next part we're gonna use is, I would like to work with something like a larger triangular shape in the background, because I think this entire back piece over here screams for a nice triangular shape. Let's say something like and maybe a second triangular shape right there. Raise the opacity. We make a very thick and very bold shape up here. And then on the bottom part, I was more thinking about shading in and keeping more almost like a hint of the triangle on the bottom one. Let's save this so we see the preview. Okay, what I like is the rays will nicely bleed over into the neck area. It looks already very nice. And then the meditator will have this floating lotus in front of him. I will probably even increase the size when we do the actual design, but this is enough for now. And then maybe we have the stem kind of in vertical position going down, and maybe we can even use this stem to transform into this kind of circuit board, which looks almost like roots but in a digital form. And I think this will bring a nice touch of futuristic and technology into the design, just to break the contrast to those very classic and ancient symbols like the lotus and the meditator. Then maybe we're gonna use a couple of like, you know, circular geometry around here, because I like the idea of the halo on the top part, and then we have those 3 bit smaller circles around him. And then, I don't know, maybe we even take the theme, since 3 is a very appealing number. And maybe what we can do is, by raising the brush size and lowering the opacity, let's say to 30%, we can even work with an effect where the arms and the legs of the meditator have almost this like dark black tint to it, which will create more of the illusion of the silhouette of the triangle, as you can see. And maybe we even use this element in the facial area of the meditator as well, just to stay in this like 3 triangles, 3 circles kind of theme. Let me gray this out here real quick. Let's save that. So the idea here is really just to make a super quick, fast roadmap for your design, because the more detailed you go into this stage here, the more time you can potentially waste. Because if you start rendering out like an entire composition, then you figure out that the entire placement doesn't match at all the anatomy, and you need to start working all from scratch. So the quicker you become with these kind of super rough, quick drafts, even if they look like a 3-year-old has drawn them with a piece of crayon, it doesn't matter. The faster and quicker you're able to create these kind of compositions, the more you can just check and look, how does it look like, how does it translate to the design. And what we're gonna do in the next part, which is the most important part, is we will start creating the final design by using image material and replacing the certain elements with a high render version of it. Because obviously we don't want to show this to the client ever, but the more and faster you learn to make just quick drafts, then you will save a lot of time in designs you will trash just simply because they will not fit the body part, or the composition just doesn't work out the way you wanted it to be. Start practicing that. And it's really not about to show anyone else, it's just for you quickly how the relationship of the elements work. For example, how in this design we have a very nice separation of the recurring theme of 3, like the 3 circles up here. We have the 3, 1, 2, 3 triangles, we have the 3 circles on the bottom. The overall theme and the overall composition I can see already will work fantastically as soon as we start creating the final tattoo design from it.